Maybe I should. I met her in Philly, and her name was Brown.
All right, back on the Young Turks. Are you aware that Young Turks are brought to you by Netflix? That's our new sponsor. Netflix.com/TYT gets you a free trial membership. I just want to let everybody know about that. And a little bit later in the program, we're going to have a special report from the Great Britain about their elections. Elections happened today. Very surprising results, and the results could be slightly disastrous. So we're going to check in on that in the third hour of today's program. So stick around for that. It's very interesting. Oh, by the way, also in the third hour, I'm interviewing another conservative. Okay, so that ought to be interesting. All right, now, a lot of financial news. First of all, riots all over Greece. They are not happy about getting their money stolen. And for them, it's a lot more immediate because a lot of the government workers have their checks being cut right now. They get literally less money. And they're also getting tax increases. So everybody's getting money taken directly out of their pockets, and they know that the bankers made the money, and they're not giving it back. And they, along with the government, crashed the Greek economy, and that might spread to Portugal and Spain, Italy, Ireland, etc. And they're furious about it. And we reported this yesterday, where they started throwing Molotov cocktails into banks. 3 bank workers died. So very, very serious situation in Greece. And that's got our stock market jittery because a couple of things have happened. Number one, they're worried that instability is going to spread throughout Europe. And number two, they're worried that the Greek economy is going to be in a mini depression for several years at least, especially given that in as bad a shape as they are now, if they do tax increases and cut government spending at the same time, that's likely to worsen their recession, at least in the short term, and something that America is not willing to do, even though we have an even worse problem with our banks. So they're concerned for those reasons. And third of all, I think people got a little spooked. They're like, oh, they killed people working at banks. And so that didn't sit well with people. And by the way, I said it yesterday, I'll repeat it every time. I can't imagine anything dumber than killing poor 3 people working at a bank at a lower level. I mean, you shouldn't kill anybody at any level, and it's hideous under any and all circumstances, but it's so stupidly misdirected. But their anger, I understand, and the protests I love if they didn't get violent, but I don't have any control over the Greek riots. Shockingly enough, they don't listen to the Young Turks and take their directions from us. So, but that's got people here a little concerned, and so mainly for the first 2 reasons that I stated, the stock market crashes, lost 1,000 points today. And then there might be another reason why it did. They're claiming that some guy wrote in a wrong message. There was literally a typo, and that typo caused enormous selling of certain stocks, and that triggered the computer programs to all start selling. And that's why it dove 1,000 points in a very short period of time. Now, if that's true, that scares me even more about the stock market. Well, at any point, just a little bit of a panic leads to an absolute cratering. So when they finally realized, oh, okay, wait, this is insane, the stocks rallied a little bit, but nonetheless, they're down 600 points over the last 3 days when you put it all together, and so that's down about 5%, and that's cause for concern, right? Now, I think the stock market is way overvalued. So I'm not at all surprised that people are starting to get concerned. They should have been concerned a hell of a lot longer ago, okay? So now, I say that within the context of, at the same time as we're having this kind of worry and concern about, oh my God, is our economy as stable as we think it is, and we're going up and down, the Senate is working on financial reform. And what's happening over there? Well, we got some good news. First of all, Bernie Sanders' bill to audit the Fed has a little bit more momentum. They got at least one senator to switch to their side today. And then Harry Reid all of a sudden started saying, you know what, that looks pretty good to me. I think I might want to audit the Fed too. He said, unless my staff talks me out of it. I feel like that for strong leadership. Dude, even if you think that, don't say it in public, okay? Anyway, so he's all of a sudden like, oh yeah, it looks like that side's going to win. I might want to jump to that side. And then meanwhile, there's the Kaufman bill, which says we should just bust up the big banks. And Chris Dodd, of all people, came on and signed to that bill and said, yeah. And Chris Dodd also now leaning towards the Fed audit. And in fact, they are saying that, and so you get that. There's two different things going on, right? Auditing the Fed and then breaking up the big banks. So that's Kaufman, Brown, and Sanders. So, all right, this is good news. We got momentum on our side. Now, it looks like on the Fed audit that they might have a deal. That's the latest news. What's the deal? And are we going to be happy with it? Well, here's the situation. Now, originally the bill was audit that Fed, let's see all their books, let's see what they're up to, where are they giving the money, how are they making decisions, et cetera, because it's our money. Now, the new compromise would be, all right, look, we want to know where they're sending the money as far as the banks are concerned. Who are they doling it out to? But, you know, as far as how they set monetary policy and where they put interest rates, well, we can see the reason why you'd want to keep that more confidential, so we'll exempt that part. Now, you know what? As I looked at that, my first thought on that was, that might be a compromise I could live with. I could see why there's some logic in making sure you get unbiased advice, advice that is not from people who are not worried that it's going to become public the next minute as to where you set interest rates. So I didn't see that compromise as that bad, and I thought, well, if you get a compromise, it might actually happen. And I was a little excited about it. But then you find out that there's a very, very important loophole. It might turn out that in order to not look at the part where they're setting the interest rates, you might also not be able to tell how they are buying some assets and redirecting some of the money, which then that loophole kind of swallows up the whole audit. And you think they won't use that loophole to hide all of the ways that they're sending the money to the banks anyway? It appears they would. So then I got a little discouraged. I was like, very excited. All of a sudden I lost all interest. So now, look, presumably Sanders isn't going to sign on unless it's real, but that's not necessarily a great assumption. So let's see how it turns out. And honestly, let's look to people. This is happening today, right? Let's look at people that are smarter than I am and have them analyze it. So over the next couple of days, we'll see what the experts in the field, the Simon Johnsons, the Bill Blacks, the Galbraith, et cetera, what all those guys, Elliot Spitzer is fantastic on this stuff, what they think of the compromise and will it actually do what we think it's going to or not. Now, why did they have to compromise in the first place? As I've been telling you for the last couple of days, they had, it looked like an overwhelming number of senators on the side of the audit. Well, it's because the White House was so actively fighting against it. They're also fighting against Kaufman Brown that would split up the big banks. And now here comes another twist. So then Hank Paulson comes out today and he says, oh, yeah, this is crazy. This is madness. We should do real reform. You should put all the derivatives on markets. It should be on open markets. And for some of them that are just private trades, they should at least be listed on an exchange. The big banks are way too big. You should break them up. I'm like, what? So this is former CEO of Goldman Sachs, former Bush Treasury Secretary, the guy who did the bailouts in the first place. He is now the Obama administration is now clearly and definitively to the right of him. They are more right-wing than Hank Paulson. Now, I don't say that like flippantly, and I don't say it because, I've been riding these guys. No, they're fighting against these provisions that Hank Paulson is in favor of. And they're fighting from the right, not from the left. If the White House said, okay, fine, you guys win, audit the Fed, and they might win anyway, by the way, audit the Fed, break up the big banks, that would pass like that. So why do we have a guy we elected to be a progressive president to the right wing of Hank Paulson and the main guy holding up reform? Meanwhile, remember, as he was talking tough to Wall Street, remember he went down to New York and he's like, oh, listen, you guys ought to be ashamed, you ought to be guilty. I'll protect you later, okay? And I wasn't buying it. You remember, I said, tough talk, not buying it. It's because when push comes to shove, they're not on the right side. Oh, you see why I get discouraged by Obama sometimes? Why? Why is he doing that? And of course, a lot of people will be frustrated with me, say it's so obvious why he's doing it, because they're taking the same money from the same guys, not just Obama, but the whole Democratic Party. So he thinks it's to their advantage to do so. Now, look. And I'm going to get one last maddening financial story for you guys. But But I don't want you to get too discouraged. Overall, good news today, because it looks like the Senate, for the moment being, is not really listening to Obama. And they're actually going to the left of Obama, and they're pushing for more reform, which is honestly a bit shocking. So hold until we get the final version of the bill, because it could easily be riddled with loopholes. And so let's see how it comes out. And one more thing. Al Franken, great amendment, saying, hey, we need to change the way the credit rating agencies work, set up a board to make sure that to give contracts to the credit rating agencies, so you eliminate the incentive for the credit rating agencies to pump up the ratings because the banks are paying them. Okay, the way that the credit rating agencies are set up now is disastrous and will always lead to grotesque failure, because their incentive is to make up ratings to get more business from the people they're rating. Okay, now Al Franken's amendment would change that. That's another really positive development. Let's hope it passes. Okay, and then finally, Freddie Mac today asked for $10.6 billion in aid after the first quarter of this year. Okay, the money is flying out the door. It's as if they're playing with made-up money. So far, last year I should say, Obama administration pledged to cover unlimited losses through 2012 for Fannie and Freddie. Jane Hampshire went ballistic about that. I think, as far as I know, I was the only other person that was prominently livid about that. And they said we were anti-Obama and that we were in league with the right wing or something. I can't describe to you how inane some of the criticism has been. Well, it turns out Freddie's new request will bring the total taxpayer tab for both companies to about $136.5 billion. Freddie and Fannie are so messed up, nobody quite understands what's happening. But that $136 billion is real. It's our money. And it's going, the banks somehow took all of their crap. Now they say that Fannie and Freddie are backing up 97% of the mortgages in America. I literally don't understand that. How could that be true? So that means when all those foreclosures happen, as they're happening, who's going to get stuck with the bill? Fannie and Freddie. Fannie and Freddie are 100% owned by the United States government now. That means we get stuck with the bill. So at some point, they did a great little switcheroo here, and they're like, okay, the bankers, they got all their bonuses, they went home, and oh, look at that, all the mortgages they made aren't there anymore. Oh, they're under the taxpayer's shell. How did that happen? Look, why are they rioting in Greece? Because they understand something we don't quite grasp yet. We're going to have to pay this bill. We keep delaying it and saying, oh, yeah, okay, we'll get a $1.4 trillion deficit and a larger deficit, and we'll pay more bailouts, and we'll send another $100 billion there and another $100 billion there. But at some point, we have to pay the bill. And these guys aren't going to pay it. We are. Okay, real quick, because I'm out of time here. Let me tell you what I would do with Fannie and Freddie. First of all, I would shred them to pieces. Okay? I said, they don't exist. They were public and private. You know what that means? Socialize the gains. Privatize the gains, socialize the losses. So the people who ran Fannie and Freddie took a grotesque amount of money out of that, and then when it went bankrupt, they didn't pay anything. We did, right? So I would say that is never going to exist again. No, none of this public-private nonsense. Okay, none of all the mortgages go over there and the taxpayers pay for them. No, they should be completely dissolved. That's number one. Number two, everybody who's ever worked, if I was the president, everybody who has ever worked for Fannie and Freddie as an executive, I'm coming for you. I'm coming to your house. I'm coming and taking all your bonuses back. You don't have them, you're going to jail. Okay? I don't care. Okay? You're going to take home $30 million and then stick us with a $136 billion bill? Hell no. Hell no, not on my watch. I want every nickel of that back, including Rahm Emanuel, who sat on the board, did nothing, and got about $100,000. I mean, that's, I know, chump change, right? But what did you do for the $100,000? Give me the money back. You obviously we were a terrible failure, right? I mean, you can't. Were you a success? Did your success lead us to a $136 billion bill? And that's the tip of the iceberg. If they own 97% of the mortgages in a way that I cannot comprehend in the U.S., it's going to be much, much worse than that. All the banks just dumped all their crap onto Fannie and Freddie because they know we're picking up the tab. Geithner made that happen. Man, I'd come for all of them. And at some point, you're going to wake up and you're going to realize the level of thievery that went on here and how we got robbed. And when you realize that, you're going to be as angry as I am today. And when all of America is as angry as that, there's going to be trouble, man. They don't know the trouble that's coming. And you see how shaky that stock market is? You see how shaky the whole world economy is? Oh, I am afraid what the hell is going to happen when we hit that iceberg. It's going to be a frickin' mess. Young Turks.
Nice to meet you.
All right, back on the Young Turks. It's you've stumbled onto a steamroller. That's what's happened here. Get out the way, yo. Get out the way. You don't want to get steamrolled, okay? We got more great news for you in this hour, including Anna is about to go off on Kim Kardashian, but for political reasons.
Right.
So that's very interesting, okay? Mm-hmm. So what's Kardashian's politics? Uh-oh, we find out today. Oh, you just comment. Okay, now, I'm going to start with two stories, and then we got some phone ones. Number one, Anna has just become a master of political science.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you've completed your master's?
Yes, it's officially complete. I've been done with coursework for a year now, but I had to go back and take a test to finalize everything. And I got an email 2 days ago indicating that I passed the test.
Master Kasparian, it is great to work with you. It is an honor to work with you.
Thank you, thank you.
Is that what we have to officially call you from now on?
Please
Master,
don't. No.
Master Kasparian?
You know, out of all the nicknames I've had, I think I like Casper the most.
Yeah, because, you know, Casper's a friendly ghost.
I like Casper.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy. Okay. And then number two, I don't know if you want this out in the public, but I hear, you know, you were kind of at the top of your class.
Yeah, I was. I didn't know I was until yesterday. I got something in the mail from the chair of the department. I'm graduating with honors. I have the highest GPA of my graduating class. But that doesn't mean it's not that big a deal.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal. I mean, I'm not saying it is. Wait. Mm-hmm. At the very top? I thought you were among the top.
No.
No, you're number one?
Yeah. You want to know how I found out? I'm not supposed to know by now.
Number one!
Yeah, my friend works in the administration in the department, and I was like, what is this award thing about? I want to know. I mean, is it worth going to? She's like, you want to go. And I was like, why do I want to go? Can you tell me? And then she straight out told me. But, I mean, I think that's
You're
cool.
going to get it.
So here's my question, though. This is what I'm wondering about. And maybe there are some UCLA administrators watching the show right now. If there are...
Go ahead, girl.
Go ahead and touch it. No.
Okay. I just want to say, go ahead, girl. All right.
If you graduate with a master's degree at the top of your class, does that mean that you can automatically get into UCLA?
What, for like PhD?
Yeah.
Of course, nothing is automatic, but my guess is you'd have a pretty good case.
I really hope I get in. So if you're a, administrator at UCLA,
think about it.
Put in a good word for Anna Kasparian.
Master Kasparian, and he also honors Kasparian. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of you, Casper.
I'm proud of myself too. I was surprised.
Okay. Come on, JR, number one in her class. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I don't know why she's asking that question about UCLA.
It's pretty easy, right?
Come on, dude. And then that's not because I'm a Trojan and it's a simple school to get into. I mean, did you get B's in high school? Yeah, you got in UCLA.
Totally untrue. Totally untrue.
I'm just saying. I forget. Was USC the Time Magazine College of the Year? I don't remember UCLA. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, come on. I think that's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But big ups, man. It's one of those things, and you still haven't really stopped doing school. Mm-hmm. After you stop doing it, you kind of miss it a little bit because it was part of your life, your whole life, since you were 3-4 years old. So I've been out for a long time now.
Yeah.
And I know as soon as I would get back, it'd be a different way of approaching it. And I think it's very cool. And to still be able to do that level of achievement when you go straight through, I think is really hard.
Yeah.
I started coming down because I was like, okay, let's go. Time to work.
Yeah.
I'd like to get into the workforce now.
Yeah.
You know?
Look, toward the end, I was like, okay, focusing way too much on these textbooks and on these class discussions and these seminars. I can't take it anymore. I need to focus on making money, right? Like, I'd rather have a second job than continue going to school. But look, when I'm in school, no, let me tell you something. When I'm in school, I feel like there's hope. I know that sounds crazy, but when I'm in a classroom, I'm with a bunch of people who are intelligent, who have ideas, and you feel like, you know what? I'm being enlightened. I'm going to walk out of here a little smarter, and there's hope for the future. Like, everyone there is so optimistic about their future. So
Those poor dumb sons of bitches.
I know, and then you graduate, and there are no jobs out there, and you're in a world of trouble.
You hit a wall of schwang wang wang.
Right.
All right, no. Look, let's talk more about this in the postgame, because I want to tell you about the end of my collegiate career. That was a fascinating end. Actually, my collegiate career, and then at law school, I had a fascinating end too. And then you were saying you've been out of school for a while. I had a very interesting experience in my 20th year reunion, no, 15th year Penn reunion, okay? And I met somebody there who turns out to be incredibly important in national news, okay? So I will explain all that in the postgame for members, okay? But let's get to the news. I have a real second story for you. Jamarcus Russell has been traded, or let go actually, just released. Now, I know a lot of you don't care about sports, but for those of you who do, he was, the top pick for the Raiders. He was their quarterback. They paid him $39 million. And they're like, yep, epic fail. Got to cut him now. 3 years later, total disaster. Won only 7 games. All right. Also in the postgame, when Jesus comes back from the doctor's office, I will rub that in his face. Because he's a Raiders fan, and we'll have fun with that. All right. Now, there is a very relevant sports story a little bit later.
Yes, there is.
Okay, but let's get started on the other stuff.
Let's start with a little update, okay? We did a story a couple days ago about a 17-year-old boy who ran out into the baseball field at a Phillies game, and he was tased by a police officer.
Don't tase me, bro! Don't tase me!
We did a poll on that, and we never come back and we never give the results of the poll.
Yeah,
okay?
hello,
So,
we totally should.
So I have the results of that poll. Now, we had a heated debate about it, okay? JR said this is one of the few cases where he felt that using a taser was justified. You and I said, no, they shouldn't use a taser. Well, TYT Army has spoken, and 29% said, yes, they should have used a taser. A whopping 70% said, no, they should not have used a taser.
So you know what?
End of this.
What happened now, JR? Okay? End of this.
Did we say 70 and 20?
Yeah, 70 and 29.
I was going to say, where did the last 10% go? I thought it said 70 and 20.
No, so, yeah.
Questioning the results. I see.
No,
Inconvenient facts.
That's just what I heard. I was wondering if there was a third option there somewhere. The TYT Army is wrong.
Oh, no, can't have it. No.
I'm going to attack it.
No.
I'm going to attack it.
I mean, they're overlooking the obvious points. I mean, people were going off of this emotion. Oh my God, it was a 17-year-old kid. Okay, so when this kid who we didn't know who the hell he was run out on the field, did the cops say, let's check his ID first? Let's stop. Let me get your ID. No, run. Oh, he's 17. We better let him keep running. We don't know he's 17. We don't know why he's out there. We don't know what he has on him. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Is he okay now? Is he in the hospital frothing from the mouth? He's okay.
No, he's
Sure.
okay, which then leads to your follow-up
Yes.
details.
You know who would agree with you, JR? His parents. Okay, so the local news media went and spoke to his stepfather and mother, and the mother gave out a public apology, and she says that her son is an idiot. Well, she didn't say that, but Facebook.
Close.
There's a Facebook page that says that's titled "Steve Consalvi is a hero," and that's the name of the 17-year-old. And then the mother came out and she's like, "He's no hero." So she's like super ashamed of it, super embarrassed. The stepfather said some stuff about him too. He said he's a clown. He's got enough common sense not to do something so completely stupid. So I mean, his parents are totally putting him down, and they feel that.
His stepdad had some great quotes. He said,
Yeah.
look, I thought it was an animal on the field, like a cat or something, right? And I come to find out it's a guy, and I'm like, who's this idiot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out it's my stepson. He's like, then we had to go get him out of the hospital, because whenever you get tased, they bring you to the hospital, okay? And he said, look, my next thought was, I'm going to lay my hands on this boy, okay? And I'm coming for him, Okay, so his parents were irate over this, and I like that they're that pissed about it. On the other hand, they said, look, the tasing might have been a little bit excessive, and they're still thinking about how to react to that, and they're not sure. But I like that they were most angry at their son.
I mean, that's good. And because the thing is, what we don't want, and I thought you guys were law-abiding citizens, and Jenk, I thought you were
Rule of law
Yeah,
guy?
you're a rule of law guy. I think we heard the very next day, another dumbass was out there on the same field running around.
Oh, is that right? I
Yeah,
hadn't heard
because this guy got so much attention. And the reason he got that much attention is because everyone's crying over his little punk ass getting tased for a second. So I'm just saying.
Next, you know what JR would have done? He'd have stepped it up a notch. He'd have been like, oh, really? Oh, now you want to come up here? Okay. No, somebody come here. Okay. Okay. Oh, no. Who's next? Who's next? Who's going to come on the field now? Go ahead.
Right, because that's the thing. I mean, yeah, these guys didn't do anything. It's like a stupid law. Like if somebody's following you and if someone has harassed you before and you said, I want a restraining order. And the police say, you know what? We can't give you a restraining order. Or no. We can't do anything about this guy harassing you and threatening to kill you until he kills you. So let's not worry about people running on the field until somebody gets hurt. Then we'll start worrying about it. So be that person who gets hurt or killed or whatever or assaulted. Then be like, oh, you know what? Okay, now you can tase every idiot that decides to come on the field and have whatever crazy intentions he has. Who knows what intentions
Here's
he
my conclusion. JR does not like losing a TYT poll. Okay, that's
I
what he
lose
does.
them all the time, JR. Welcome to the club. It's okay.
All right.
No, I'm not worried about losing the poll because actually I thought I was going to get hell for something else I said yesterday. But it had nothing to do with that. But it's just, it should make sense. I know when I'm saying something that's ridiculous, but there's too many facts behind it. And it's not even just an opinion. Come on, dude. It's happened. It's happened.
All right. Okay. Now, so my final conclusion, along with apparently the TYT Nation's conclusion, is he shouldn't have gotten tased, but he is an idiot for running out there. I like that his parents are really pissed about it and that they're going to lay their hands on him. Okay, that's acceptable. No, not laying their hands on him, but but being tough on him, of course. So I like how it turned out. And by the way, if you didn't see the poll, it's on theyoungturks.com.
Yep.
Okay, we put it up as a special thing because you can't put footage from anything related to baseball on YouTube, so we put it up on theyoungturks.com.
I'm so pissed about this. You know what? Let's have another poll I can lose. How about this? Cats are annoying, and they don't think they should be in anybody's house that they smell, and they're hairy. How about that? Cats are not cute.
All right, new TYT poll. Are cats hairy? It turns out JR wins. They are hairy.
Are they annoying? Do they rub their head up against you for no damn reason?
Oh, it's
yes.
cute when they do that,
They're
though.
annoying. Kick them away from me when they do that.
All right, I'm going to tell you a story related to that in the postgame. I save up all these stories for the postgame.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, did you catch the postgame yesterday? Oh. Wait,
Yeah, that was a wild post-game show.
Yeah. What were the two huge things we discussed?
We discussed me in a sauna.
Oh, right, you in the sauna. Oh, like a TYT listener saw Anna naked.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, just remind me to come back to that cat issue because it relates to that personal news I gave earlier. Okay. I got a new plan, so I'll tell you what that plan is. And I got to tell that personal news to the non-members. I don't know. I guess we'll do it tomorrow. Because, you want to tell the members first, but at some point, obviously, I got to tell everybody.
Yeah.
If they don't already know.
I'm sorry, and actually one more thing. We can go with the cat theme in the postgame. I have a story about a cat, and I feel really bad about it.
You killed a cat.
And I don't even, like I said, it's well documented. I like dogs. I don't like cats. I felt really bad about it.
Uh-oh. Okay, some crazy cat stories in the postgame. All right, let's move forward. Let's do the stories of the day.
All right. A new study indicates that meeting beautiful women and being exposed to them for 5 minutes or longer is bad for your health.
Yeah, I am suffering severe consequences because of it. I have to work with her every day.
I know. How do you guys do it? You guys must be. I'm taking you guys to an early grave.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I think we're going to be okay. I think so.
Okay.
What's the reason behind it, Anna?
Okay, so the study was done by the University of Valencia, and what they found is that when you are exposed to a woman that you feel is way out of your league, it increases your levels of a hormone known as cortisol. And cortisol is the stress hormone, okay? And if you have too much of this hormone present in your body, it can lead to a lot of health issues, including heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, and even impotency.
Uh-oh. Well, isn't that ironic? Okay, you see a hot girl, you become impotent. Okay. First of all, this is not an issue for me, of course, because there is no one out of my league. Oh, yeah, I said it.
I didn't think anyone can out-concede me.
Okay, you want to know the reality. The reality is, especially when I was younger, of course still to this day, but especially when I was younger, this study is so true. Like if I'm left in the room with Debbie Kirshner, I'm like, my cortisol's like... Okay, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Should I say something? Should I not say something? Oh my God. Do you think she likes me? Why would she like me? I haven't even said anything. And she doesn't even know me. So yeah, my cortisol would be raging. And I didn't know it was taking years off my life, though.
Yeah.
So now that I'm married, though, that's good. Because it's true. I feel so much more relaxed. Even if I'm in a room with a woman out of my league, I'm like, so what? I'm not going to hit on you anyway. How do you like me now? Cortisol staying exactly where it is. What you going to do about it?
I love this study.
It takes a lot of pressure off. It really does, being married. You're like, Like, I mean, I love getting laid. Don't get me wrong. Okay, by different women. But when I got married, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to try anymore. I didn't realize how much pressure I was putting on myself. Like every time I ran into a girl that was like, well, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I come at her this way? Should I come at her that way? Should surprise attack? What should I do?
Surprise attack.
Surprise! So now I feel much happier and healthier. Everything's going to be all right.
I'd be interested to see this study done on women as well. I mean, does it have the same effect on women?
I know how we can do that study. Put me in a room with them and see if their cortisol levels get higher. You know what I'm saying?
Or what about...
I think this is how it would go. They'd be like, oh, Jank's in the room with me. Shwang, wang, wang.
Oh, man.
All right, we're having fun. All right, now you know what happens when your heart starts racing, etc. And by the way, when they leave them in a room with a guy, they're like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
Nothing
of course.
Happens. Yeah, whatever.
What about homosexual males?
Oh.
And what if they're put in a room with
like Jesus Luz?
Oh yeah, exactly.
And he takes his shirt off. They're like, oh. All right. Imagine the archbishop that we talked about earlier, or that Crackers guy, or whatever his was, the Kraken from yesterday, who was the family values guy who took Rent Boy on a vacation with him. Oh, by the way, just a quick story on that. You guys remember the guy who took rentboy.com, took the guy to vacation in Italy with him, and he said, to bring his suitcases. So Michael yesterday goes to, you remember Michael? Sure, everybody. He takes part in a pub quiz here in LA, okay? And two of the teams that night were called, like, lifting luggage, okay? Because he said he brought the gay guy to lift his luggage. And then, like, travel companion because of Samsung or something like that. But everybody was all over it with the Rent Boy jokes.
That is so funny.
That's awesome, man. That is the world's worst excuse. Think about that for a second. Like, I'm having trouble lifting luggage, and I'm about to go on vacation. What should I do? Should I get a gay travel companion? I mean, who thinks that way? And remember that guy wrote the book, Crackers, or whatever his name was, wrote a book on how, being gay is wrong and how I grew up straight. Think about that for a second. Pause for a second on that. Have you ever had an urge to write a book about how you grew up straight? No, why would you ever write that book? Why would it occur to you, right? He's like, no, I grew up straight. I'm going to write a book about it, okay? I grew up straight, okay? And I'm going to write that book, and then I'm going to go on rentboy.com and lift some luggage. Man, conservatives crack me up. All right, go. Give me one more.
I have the Kim Kardashian story next.
Oh, no, save it. Be cool. All right, listen, quick break here. Come back. Find out which side Kardashian's on. Gonna be interesting. Young Turks. All right, back on Young Turks. Let me tell you something. There are 4 really interesting stories back to back, if you ask me, coming up. We got LT and the disastrous story with him next. But first, which direction does Kim Kardashian go?
Yes, okay, but politically speaking. So it turns out that Kim Kardashian, we talked about this, she went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and she was invited by both CBS and by Fox News, all right? She rejected the invitation from CBS and decided to accept the invitation from Fox News. Now, CNS News interviewed her about this, and they asked her, why did you accept Fox, but you didn't accept CBS? We have the video. Let's watch it.
Actress and model Kim Kardashian told CNSNews.com why she chose to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner with Fox instead of CBS. She was also asked if President Obama has lived up to her expectations.
Kim, you're a guest of Fox News Channel tonight.
Greta Van Susteren, she invited me.
Why did you choose to go with Fox?
You know what? I did a few interviews with Greta. She's always been so amazing to me, and we've had a really good time. So I'm just kind of here with her, hanging out, and, you know, just to have a good time. I've never been here before, so I heard that it's a spectacular event, and I'm, you know, just honored that she chose me to be her guest.
What's your impression of Fox News? Do you turn to Fox News for coverage?
Yeah, you know, I've done a few interviews with Greta on the Fox News channel.
Yeah, we got that.
And it's just a very reputable news channel. So when I have time, every time we're getting ready in the morning, my stepdad Bruce, he always has Fox News on, and it's like only news in the house. So depends on what room you go in. It's either E! Entertainment or news, Fox News.
All right, there you have it.
Okay. Can I start?
Oh, go. Have at her, Hoss.
This says nothing about her political ideologies because A, I don't think she has a political ideology. B, I don't think she knows what a conservative news bias is. Okay? Yeah. Kim Kardashian has no idea what's going on. She's like, yeah, I did a couple interviews with Greta and she's amazing and this is a spectacular event. I've never been here before. It's spectacular. I really like it. And I did a couple interviews with Greta Van Susteren.
And there are cameras on me. I like that. I'm always in favor of that. Look, I was ready to declare her a Republican when I saw the headlines and go after her. Well, she's allowed to be whatever she wants to be. But the sense I got from that interview was that Bruce Jenner is clearly Fox News viewer, right? Her dad. So there he goes under the bus. But that she's like, look, she's being polite to the people who brought her, right? She did call Fox News a reputable news organization.
Right.
Which is, of course, very, very questionable. But like you said, I don't think she has enough sense to know what is and is not a reputable news organization.
Yeah, she said that the two news sources that they have in their home is E! And Fox News. Like,
so, in other words, they don't have a news organization that they watch in their house. So I love that that's her two sources of news.
Right.
Which means that she has no idea what's going on in the country. Right. And then, this is a little bit of what Bush would call.
I think it's kind of what we call speculation.
But one of our listeners sent in an email, remain nameless, saying, it's interesting how much Greta Van Susteren likes Kim Kardashian and Sarah Palin.
Yeah, that's true.
She just loves to hang out with those two women. Interesting. And she said that set off her gaydar. I didn't say, I'm just, look. I
think it's kind of what we call speculation.
Okay. And I'm not saying anything, but all right, I'm going to leave it right there. In fact, I have said something. and there's no reason to believe, other than the fact that she keeps hanging out with really hot women, that she is interested in women. But
can I just say something really quick about Greta? If she were interviewing me, I would be so distracted the entire time.
Really? Why?
No,
Why?
She interviewed me and she's spectacular.
Why? Hey, Kim Kardashian, you're freaking hot. Can I interview you again and again and again? Have you met Sarah Palin? She's also hot. God, she's got nice legs. What? Did I say something? I didn't say something, did I? Okay, all right. Yeah, just one.
I think it's kind of what we call speculation.
All right. Enough busting on Greta for no reason.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be busting on Kardashian there. Okay, Greta's allowed to take Kardashian to the things. It's totally fine. Okay, yes.
But why did she accept that invitation and not CBS?
I don't think she... here's my guess. One, she didn't put a second thought into it. Number two, her dad was like, oh my God, you got to go with Fox News. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. I would be curious. No, she's not that bad. Okay, we're ragging on her too much. Because I was going to say, I'd be curious if you to ask Kim Kardashian, hey, is Fox News on the right or the left? If she'd know.
I mean,
but she's got to know, right? Everybody knows that. Okay, we're way too much right.
Who? Kim Kardashian?
Yeah.
I don't think she knows that Fox News is on the right. Are you kidding me?
Really?
Yes.
No. Okay, but again, that's speculation. We don't know.
No, I know. She doesn't know what it is. I don't even think she knows what right or left means.
Oh, come on. Come on. She doesn't know what German means.
No. Not a
So
lot
we don't say that here in America. All right, go ahead.
Out of curiosity, like I knew you were a little upset that she was even there.
a lot upset, yes.
So what if it had come out that she was the guest, or who was the other one? CNN? CBS. She said CBS, and she's like, I don't want to go with Fox News just because I don't like the way they report. And that's all she said. Would you be okay with her being there? I just wonder, like, now there's a conflict of interest because you don't want her there, but now what if she disses Fox News a little bit?
Okay, this was my problem with her being there. She knows nothing about what's going on in politics. She has, in my opinion, she has no business there. Like, she has no real interest in it. To her, it's like, ooh, another event where I get to dress up and look cute and go. Like, she doesn't even know what it's about. That annoys me because there are people out there, people like me, who want to go and who are interested in it, right? So if she actually did an interview and she shared her thoughts on anything political, right? And she had legitimate thoughts, I would feel better. I'd be like, oh, okay, so she is interested in this stuff. She has a reason to be there.
No, but no thoughts. Just simply she went with CBS and then said Fox News no.
Well, that would tell me that she knows something. Like she knows that Fox is conservative, they're on the right. That would be good enough for me.
All right. Yeah, at least Anna's being upfront about the, better man. But anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I'm not going to hide that.
All right. So, all right, let's do LT.
Okay, so Lawrence Taylor, former football player for the New York
Whatever that is, I guess football, is that soccer? The one with the kid?
All right.
Okay, all right.
New York Giants, okay?
All right.
People call him legendary.
People call him legendary. She's no idea. Okay. He, in fact, is legendary. Yes, okay. One of the greatest football players of all time.
Okay, he has gotten in trouble because he allegedly had sex with a 16-year-old girl. The rendezvous took place after a pimp arranged the meeting. Go ahead, take it.
It's a sports story. We're going to take it from here. All right. Look, Lawrence Taylor has been in trouble with the law before. Obviously, he had a well-known addiction problem. They believe that he'd kicked that in around 98. I never really quite believed that, but I'm being a bad guy. He was on Dancing with the Stars last year. He seemed like he's got his stuff turned around. Look, if he wants to get a pimp to arrange girls for him, hey, that's one thing, right? But number one, she's obviously underage at 16. Disaster written all over it, okay? Number two, the allegations are that he got violent with her and that he assaulted her and then raped her. And she had run away from home for just a couple of days. I'm not even sure if it was even a couple of days. It might have been even shorter than that. The reports are coming in on it now. And then somehow she wound up in this situation. That's what they're saying. It's always a little hazy as to how the pimp gets involved so quickly. Did she get tricked into going there? But we do know her. It appears that we know her reaction afterwards, which is she flipped out and was because she had been raped, according to the allegations, and told the police and was like, I'm not sure she knew who Lawrence Taylor was. I mean, why would a 16-year-old girl even know who Lawrence Taylor is, right? And then come to find out that it's LT, and then you see his mugshot there with the bloodshot eyes. He looks like he's almost about to cry. That's not the mugshot, but you saw it earlier. There it is. And he just looks like a mess. That doesn't mean much at all, right? And of course, we're going to have to see if these allegations are true or not, and it's impossible to conclude anything on the first day. But here's what I can tell you. If it is true, I mean, obviously, it is beyond disastrous. And that's the end of Lawrence Taylor, and it should be, of course. So that's it. Goes to jail. If it's true, I hope he goes to jail for a long, long time and doesn't come out. And it's sick to see how things unfolded, man. I mean, the thing I get out of this, God, he was so sky high. One of the best players of all time. Had money, had everything, loses all his money, and clowns himself and then winds up in this kind of mess. Man, he is a walking billboard for don't do drugs. Seriously, man, drugs, if this is true, flushed his life away. I mean, it did earlier, certainly when he ran into trouble with the law before. Again, he'd had allegations outside of Miami last year with another run-in with the law, leaving the scene of an accident. We don't know why. And now, if this proves to be real, that's it. He's done. And it's an absolute tragedy for everybody involved, and most especially for that 16-year-old girl involved. So I don't know what more to add to it than, I'm sickened by how it turned out, And it's weird. It's like, of course, as a sports fan, as you watch these guys, you feel a little bit more connected to them. It's natural, right? And so, this kind of stuff happens every day, and it's sickening every day when it happens with people we don't know. But when you think you know the guy a little bit, not that I thought I knew him, but that he'd just been in our lives for so long, it just, it just sucks even more. So, all right, we'll see how it develops. Okay. Now, let's switch to a more entertaining story. Let's put it that way.
Yes, and it has to do with Stephen Baldwin, so you know it's going to be entertaining. So there's this organization known as Restore Stephen Baldwin, and they have compared him to a Christian martyr. They believe that he has traded his career as a successful actor to be a...
and a spokesman evangelizing for the Christian right? And they think that's what cost him his career.
Right.
Not that he's an awful, hideous actor, that doesn't know what the hell he's doing, So they've decided that they're going to put together a campaign for him.
Right.
It really defies explanation, so we're going to let you watch the video and see what literally looks unbelievable to me. I can't believe they're serious about this, but they appear to be. Let's watch. Pause, awkward pause. Here we go.
Long ago in the land of Uz lived a man named Job. Job was the most influential man in the East, a man of great wealth who stood for righteousness and God. Through trials, he lost his children, his health, his home, and wealth. Yet Job stood in faithfulness to God, never turning his back on him. Because of this, he was instantly restored by all who knew him. Stephen Baldwin of the famous Baldwin Brothers Hollywood clan is a veteran actor who has starred in over 60 films and TV shows. He's no stranger to the Hollywood life of glitz, glamour, and the public eye. In 2002, he had an experience that changed his life forever. He became a born-again Christian, giving his life to Jesus Christ. Over the next few years, he became very vocal about his faith, using his spotlight to boldly preach the gospel to millions of people. However, because of his convictions, it began to cause him the loss of several jobs, and most recently, a highly publicized bankruptcy. He has been publicly ridiculed and insulted by people who think that he's been abandoned by God. A simple search through the internet will reveal that people not only mock Stephen, but mock God as well. In response to this, with the permission of Stephen's ministry president, Daniel Southern, we have established RestoreStephenBaldwin.org, a privately funded and managed website. Our vision is to see Stephen Baldwin publicly restored in front of millions. Stephen's platform will increase, allowing him to reach even more people with the gospel, and God will get all of the glory publicly.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Stephen Baldwin gets all the money, God gets all the glory. Not buying it.
Is that what Christianity's all about?
No, yes. Giving money to washed up actors is what Christianity is all about. If you want to glorify God, send a check to Stephen Baldwin. I mean, that is tailor-made for suckers. Can you imagine what kind of a sucker you'd have to be to send in money to Stephen Baldwin to glorify God? What in God's green earth does one have to do with the other? And you're telling me you really think Stephen Baldwin ran out of money and now owes $2.3 million because he was busy glorifying God? No, he was busy getting drunk and probably gambling, and buying a lot of crap for himself. That's how he owes $2.3 million. You think he gave that money to the church? I don't think so. Oh, God. Oh, please don't tell me that there are any people out there in the world that stupid to give this guy money.
Of course there are. Of course there are. Okay, and I have more information on the story that I love. So the Restore Stephen Baldwin website says that he deserves hundreds of millions for his Job-like faithfulness. By the way, it's not Job, it's Job. But whatever. Job-like faithfulness in the face of relentless loss and persecution. People not only mock Stephen, but mock God as well.
Yeah, because if you mock Stephen Baldwin, you're obviously mocking God. Why? Why? There's perfectly religious people who also think that Stephen Baldwin's a clown. And by the way, if all this weren't bad enough, look at him. Who would send this goofball? I mean, look at he has a perpetual dumb look on his face. Like, huh, what? What, did I just lose $2.3 million? I'm so drunk. I'd like to glorify God. God. Who would be? Oh, come on. The only one dumber than him is the people who send him money to glorify God. And I like that they're ambitious about it. They don't have to send him a couple of bucks or anything like that. No, we're going to try to raise a couple of $100 million for him. Luckily, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and also Stephen Baldwin says that he has absolutely no involvement with this website and that he's not benefiting from it financially.
Well, then who is?
Yeah.
But his manager set it up.
Right, exactly.
So wait a minute, okay? That's what I want to know. Okay, where's the money going? If it's not going to Stephen Baldwin, why is the manager getting glorified through this project? I mean, look, he might be kidding around, but it's a weird way to kid around about your client. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, because you can't be serious about that. That's just so nuts. I mean, maybe they think they're going to pull some sort of like Joaquin Phoenix thing and be like, we're kidding. We know we're a dumbass. Please hire us. But I don't think it's going to work. I've never seen such disparate brothers in my life. Alec Baldwin is on my man crush list, and Stephen Baldwin most certainly is not.
By the way, speaking of Alec Baldwin, we need to launch a TYT campaign to get him on the show.
Well, this ain't going to help him because this is his brother. Okay?
Yeah.
And us throwing his brother.
Does he get along with his brother or even like his brother?
I think they do. I've seen them together.
That's a disaster.
So they're not going to help our cause. But I mean, keep it real, right? I mean, this guy's a disaster.
I'm sure Alec knows that his brother is a disaster. Come on.
All right. So listen, quick break. When we come back, the most disturbing story of the day by far. Okay, so you got that to look forward to. And we got more, but let's just take a real quick break here and come right back.